faithful real DVD watcher viewers. I'm Kayla, and I am Friday, Cinematic Adventures 1, and I'm here to review or discuss a movie that I watched this week. Um, I watched a movie online on Netflix that was on my queue randomly. I was wondering what it was. Actually, I'd forgotten why I put it on there, so I went and saw who was in it, and I remembered why. Um, I'm going to tell you what it is. I should do that first. It's called The Air I Breathe, and I'm going to read what it says right here. It's a 2008 directorial debut of a Korean-American filmmaker named Ji-ho Lee, who co-wrote the script. It stars Sarah Michelle Gellar, Brendan Fraser, um, Forest Whitaker, that's who, and Kevin Bacon, and Andy Garcia. And then this is why I think it was on my Netflix queue. Emile Hirsch had a role in it, and then some other people. And the concept of the film is like it's based on this Chinese proverb that breaks life into 4 different emotional cornerstones. I guess is what they call it. So it's like 4 different stories, and each character, and there's 4 like characters, and they each represent the 4 cornerstones of your life. And so you never know their names, so you know them as the emotion that they portray. So Forest Whitaker is happiness, and Brendan Fraser is pleasure, and Sarah Michelle Gellar is sorrow, and then Kevin Bacon is love. And and the proverb, I'm reading this and adding my own into it. Sorry, because it was a complicated movie. I had to have some sort of something in front of me. So the proverb speaks. It's not complicated. I'm babbling. I'm sorry. The proverb speaks of these emotions not as isolated fragments of feelings, but as elements that make up the whole of the human existence. Each of the 4 main protagonists is based on one of the 4 emotions, and like the proverbs, their paths are linked to each other, akin to the fingers of a hand, and fingers is Andy Garcia. So I'm sorry for babbling. It isn't confusing. It's just when you hear it, the concept, you're like, oh, that sounds weird and confusing, but it's not. It's actually, the movie itself isn't very confusing, but Fingers is played by Garcia, and he's the fingers of the hand, and he's a mobster. He's he runs the mob, yeah, and they're interconnected by him. They all have been affected by him in one way or another, and 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 they've all run into each other throughout. And so it starts with Forest Whitaker, and then it goes to Brendan Fraser, and then Sarah Michelle Gellar, and then Kevin Bacon. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Brendan Fraser's pleasure, and Sarah Michelle Gellar's happiness. I mean, not happiness, sorrow. They have the biggest storyline. Brendan Fraser's in it the most, I think, because he intertwines with sorrow. Pleasure and sorrow are kind of they anyway, so he has the biggest role, I feel. Forest Whitaker was in it for like the first 20 minutes was Forest Whitaker, and then I think Kevin Bacon was in it the least, but he was good. He played a doctor who had a capacity to love. Sarah Michelle Gellar played a famous pop star named Trista, but that's not her real name. And Brendan Fraser played kind of like the collector for Fingers. Andy Garcia, he was his like the guy who beat you up if you didn't pay the money that you owed Fingers. And then Forest Whitaker was a bank employee who was down on his luck and kind of never did anything risky in his life, and then does something risky and bets money and ends up owing a lot of money to Fingers. And then Fingers also becomes Sarah Michelle Gellar's manager because her current manager owes him money. So instead of giving him money, he gives him Sarah Michelle Gellar. And then Kevin Bacon is a doctor who treats Brendan Fraser at one point, and who Sarah Michelle Gellar donates blood because she has a red blood type, and she donates blood because the love of his life has a werewolf. It's very it sounds complicated, but I enjoyed it. I did once I talked about it, and Forest Whitaker and Kevin Bacon weren't in it very much again. Emile Hirsch had a small role as Andy Garcia's nephew, and he walked around with Brendan Fraser for a little bit, and he was really funny. He was like a punk. He's like a stereotype kind of thing, but he was hilarious and he was good. It's not a funny movie. He was kind of the comic relief because the movie itself is not funny, but he was the funny. And Brendan Fraser was my favorite part of the whole movie. It was very he was very good, I think. I like him. Forest Whitaker, I really like him too, but he wasn't in it as much as I thought they were all four equal parts, but he wasn't in it very much. Neither was Kevin Bacon, and Sarah Michelle did a good job. Did a good job. It wasn't if for Brendan Fraser and Emile Hirsch were my favorite parts of the movie. So I do recommend this movie. There's some hearing about it, talking about it. It sounds confusing, but honestly, when you watch it, you're not confused. I was never once confused at what I was seeing, but the whole proverb thing kind of you hear that and you're like, oh, okay, that's a little confusing. But it's not. It's not confusing at all. It's entertaining. I'm glad I watched it. I don't know if I'd own it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it again and see if I want it. But I enjoyed it. Usually the movies I watch, I think I'm gonna have some enjoyment. People do tend to think that I don't dislike movies, but that's not true. I just kind of avoid movies that I think I'm not going to like, which is a little closed-minded of me, I realize. And I try to open myself up, and I have been. And when I was in Awesome Possum, I watched quite a few movies that I did not enjoy. But for the most part, if it was up to me, I'm quick to judge with movies that I think I'll enjoy and I won't. And I have made mistakes. I didn't think I would like Moulin Rouge, and that's one of my favorite movies. So um, if you have any suggestions of movies that you want me to review, please leave them in the comments because I'm open to anything and I want to watch new things, and so let me know and I'll review the movie that you suggest. Okay? I will see you guys next week. Go watch The Air I Breathe. It was fun. It wasn't fun. It was a good watch. It's a little emotional. Brendan Fraser was great, I think, and you know in 2 months I might forget that I watched it. I guess it's that kind of movie, but it was a good watch. I'm glad that I saw it. So check it out, and I'll see you next week. Bye.